Max Verstappen made the perfect start to the new F1 season as he dominated the Bahrain Grand Prix with ominous ease. His 22-second advantage over teammate Sergio Perez was very reminiscent of 2023, dashing everyone's hopes of a more competitive start to the season. There is still plenty of time for things to change though, and with everything happening at Red Bull, the team may yet be destabilised. Over the weekend, evidence of a Max Verstappen move away from Red Bull and Horner emerged, and today I'll check it out as well as what is going on at the team he may be moving to. So let's get started. The controversy currently surrounding Christian Horner, no matter what your opinion of it is causing problems within the Red Bull team. A lot of statements coming out from team members have been supportive and positive. The investigation into him wasn't done by the team though, it was done by the Red Bull racing parent company Red Bull GmbH. And while the racing team are doing their best to protect their leader of almost 20 years, those with an inside line but a less direct attachment have been breaking rank. Just days after Red Bull GmbH concluded their investigation into Red Bull F1 team boss Christian Horner by exonerating the Englishman, Verstappen Sr. called for Horner to be removed from his position. Now I know, Jos Verstappen calling out someone for inappropriate behaviour is the epitome of the pot calling the kettle black, but I'm putting that aside for a minute. 24 hours after the exoneration, an email leak containing alleged evidence from the investigation was leaked to the media and other prominent figures in the sport, with Horner releasing a statement to say that he would not comment on anonymous speculation. With Red Bull content to leave Horner in his position and everything being silent from within the team, the matter appeared to be calming down. That was until just a few hours after Max collected his trophy atop the podium in Bahrain. Verstappen's father Jos went public to the media, confirming that there are tensions within the Red Bull camp and made the argument that Horner should not be continuing in his role. There is tension here while he remains in his position, the former F1 driver told Mail Sport. The team is in danger of being torn apart. It can't go on the way it is. It'll explode. He's playing the victim when he's the one causing the problems. Whatever your opinion may be of Jos Verstappen, it's true that everything he does is to try and further his son's career. If that means getting the team principal of the team his son is racing for fired, then that's what he's going to do. If it means getting his son into another team, then he'll do that as well. But more on that in a minute. After the race in Bahrain, video footage emerged of an interaction between Jos and Christian, with Sky Italy releasing a short 19-second clip that shows the two men engaging in an animated discussion, with Horner pointing and gesticulating numerous times to outside the building. The pair did then shake hands before leaving the hospitality unit separately though. Jos confirmed to BBC Sport that he made the comments about tension within the team after he had a falling out with Horner at the Bahrain Grand Prix. While Jos is in public opposition to Horner's continued employment at the team, Max has publicly supported his team principal, but on Sunday that all changed. The Telegraph reported that Max Verstappen had been asked by Mohammed Ben Sulayem, the president of F1's governing body the FIA, to back Horner publicly, and that's been verified by a number of sources as well. Ben Sulayem's approach came after Max Verstappen avoided questions about Horner when asked 4 times in the lead up to the Bahrain Grand Prix on Saturday, whether he had full faith and confidence in him. So as things stand, Red Bull are dodging questions about whether or not the leaked messages are real, which means they probably are because if they weren't they'd just say so. The FIA are intervening into the matter by getting Max to defend his team principal, and Jos is leaking everything that is going on within the team by calling for Christian to be fired before his son's team falls apart. Like I said earlier, Jos is the kind of father to do absolutely anything to protect his son's interest, and while plan A may be to get Horner out of the team, plan B is to get his son out. Jos was seen multiple times over the race weekend at the Mercedes Hospitality Centre in conversations with Toto Wolff. A move to the old enemy Mercedes would really be a shock, but if Jos and Max decide that Red Bull are not the place to be anymore, then Mercedes is the only logical option. With Lewis Hamilton moving away from the team at the end of the season, there would be space for Max. Mercedes definitely have the financial firepower to fulfill any contract requirements, and knowing Toto Wolff, he'd probably pay Max out of his own pocket to have him on the team. Helmut Marko confirmed just before the Bahrain Grand Prix that there are exit clauses within Max's contract which would allow him to break away from the team, and Jos has made it clear to the media that if need be, his son can leave Red Bull. You might be wondering why Max would make the decision to leave a team that has been providing him with such incredible cars, and I've been doing the same thing. In the end, it comes down to Max's desire to race and his dad's wishes. Max's career has always been driven by Jos from a very, very young age, and Max hates the circus that comes with F1 racing. He just wants to be on track competing. Jos wants to be away from Horner, and Max doesn't want the drama that is coming with his team principal. There is a huge set of regulation changes coming in 2026 which will level the playing field, and Max will believe he can win in any car anyway. Taking on Max at Mercedes would be a huge move by the Silver Arrows, and a proof of intention after the decline that they've slipped into over the past few years. In Bahrain, Mercedes really struggled. Unexpected power unit temperature issues affected both cars from the early stages of the race and limited their performance throughout. George Russell slipped back from an early second to finish 5th, while Hamilton moved up to 7th from 9th on the grid. Having gained places from Fernando Alonso and Oscar Piastri, the 7-time world champion reported battery issues early in the race, and also suffered with brake temperatures and a broken seat. It's a surprise that these problems managed to hide themselves through preseason practice and the race weekend's dedicated practice sessions. Despite those woes, and describing it as a super average race, Hamilton was in a positive mood after the flag, given the potential of the car. "I feel good, I don't feel downbeat," said Hamilton regarding his race. "But what I feel is that the last couple of years we've had all these problems. And we spent several races undoing all those problems, like trying to figure out what those problems were, as opposed to now we have a platform that we can start adding shit to, adding bricks and stuff. So now it's a building process from here, and I think we're a great team in doing that." With a potential appointment of Max Verstappen on the horizon, getting the W15 as competitive as possible will be the #1 priority for the team. But while Hamilton was positive about the first race in the new-look Mercedes, the reviews from the media were far less positive. Ralf Schumacher believes Toto Wolff and co have work to do heading into the second race of the season in Saudi Arabia next weekend. Toto has to clarify a few things, he said. "That wasn't a stable performance. I expected more from Mercedes." Sky Sports F1 pundit Martin Brundle said that he thought Russell and Hamilton would be disappointed by the race pace of their W15. David Croft also pointed out a glaring issue for Mercedes. It was considerably colder than the teams are used to at the first event of the campaign, with temperatures in the mid to high teens rather than low to mid 30s. It's expected to be around 24 degrees when the lights go out at the Jeddah Corniche circuit on Saturday for the second successive night race. Speaking live on Sky Sports F1 during the race, Croft said it was worrying the W15 was getting too hot even in relatively mild weather. He said, "It's not going to bode well when we get to the hotter climates of Jeddah this time next week." There is a lot for Mercedes to work on this week in the lead up to the race, and sorting those heating issues are just the start of it. There's also the growing tension between the team's two drivers. George Russell was very blunt when he joined Mercedes. He said that his intention is to win races and championships and beat Lewis Hamilton while doing it. With a 7-time world champion on his way out of the team at the end of the season, Russell has wasted no time in trying to stamp his authority in Mercedes. While Russell claimed 3rd on the grid with a lap just 3 tenths short of Max Verstappen's time for pole position, Hamilton could only manage 9th on the grid, more than 2 tenths slower than his Mercedes teammate. After qualifying, Hamilton said that he and Russell had taken different setup directions, with the 7-time world champion's chosen path better suited to race conditions. "On Thursday during my work, we were doing identical car setups and I was feeling great," Hamilton said. "We veered off, he went one way and I went the other. You could say that the one I was on is not good on a single lap, but I hope it's good in the race. I wasn't comfortable with my race pace in practice, so I changed the car to hopefully make the race pace better, but we'll see if that's really the case." That appeared to hold true after qualifying, as there wasn't an obvious mistake in Lewis's best qualifying lap, which explained the 2 tenths of a second deficit to George. However, when asked about the differing setups after the race, Russell argued that the Mercedes cars were set up in a very similar way, with his own actually better suited to race conditions than qualifying compared to Hamilton's. Many people have said this. I don't really know the big differences, to be honest, because as far as I'm aware, the cars were pretty similar. I don't really focus too much on his setup. Mine was actually more set up for the race than the setup he ran. At least it was on Friday for qualifying. How the relationship plays out between the two Mercedes drivers this season will be incredibly interesting. George wants to establish himself as Mercedes' new leader, especially if it does transpire that Max is headed to the team for 2025. The Horner controversy has really set things off in the paddock, and if the racing is going to be dominated by Max again this season, then the off-track drama might have to make up for it. Do you think Max would make the move to Mercedes if things at Red Bull turn sour? And what could happen between George and Lewis this year as the team starts to phase out Hamilton? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.